Hello and welcome. Today I will be talking about the benefits of off-plan property purchase. We'll start by explaining the term off-plan property, which is not very familiar, especially to people outside of UAE. And after that, we'll be going through some of the main benefits, something like why these properties usually have a better quality or more demand, why these off-plan properties are giving you the benefits of higher return on investment, why you can have a payment plan on these properties or even a post-handover payment plan, and how can you get a better price. So we'll go through these factors one by one. Now let's start from the term itself. The term of off-plan property. What is considered an off-plan property and what does this term stand for? So off-plan property stands for a property that's under construction, whether it's a building or something else, villa, townhouse, it does not matter. So any property that's under construction is considered an off-plan property. It doesn't matter if the property is supposed to be completed 5 years from now or 5 months from now. It's still considered as off-plan property, right? So when you see some new launches happening for some townhouses that are going to be built or completed in 2025, they are considered off-plan. But when you see a building or you search for a listing which is off-plan, you might see something that's going to be completed in the next 3 months, 5 months, 8 months, doesn't matter. It's still listed and considered as off-plan, okay? Although there are major differences between them. One is obvious, the construction, right? Timing, right? Now, so any property that does not have what's called a BCC or a building completion certificate is considered off-plan. So we'll be moving on to the actual benefits of off-plan property purchase and why you should consider investing in it. Now, one of the main and biggest benefits of buying an off-plan property is a payment plan. Now, payment plan is a distribution of the amount of the property through the time, okay? So let's say you have a property that's going to be completed 1 year from now. Instead of you having to pay 100% of the property price, you can distribute the same amount through that 1 year. Or you can pay, as an example, 50% now when you book the property, and that can be your down payment, and 50%, the balance, you will pay only once the property is completed at the time of handover. So at the time when you are supposed to receive the keys to your property. Now, on top of that, in Dubai, we have something, in UAE, I should be precise, we have something that's called a post-handover payment plan. Now, what's the difference with the post-handover payment plan? So as the term itself, it says post-handover. So as an example, with the post-handover payment plan, you already paid 50% during the construction itself. Now, from the moment you receive the keys, you still have the balance of 50% of the apartment price, right? Now, that 50% you will continue to pay for, let's say, 3 years, which is post-handover, okay? So the 3 years of post-handover payment plan is for your balance of 50% of the apartment price, which you are paying from the moment you receive the keys of the apartment. From the moment you receive the keys, for the next 3 years, the installments will be either monthly or quarterly basis, as whatever you like more and whatever is more convenient for you. Even they can be paid once a year, it doesn't matter. But the point is the same, that you still have 3 years to pay off the balance 50% of the property after you have taken the keys. And that's the biggest benefit. So why that is a benefit and who does it benefit the most? Anyone who has funds or liquidity with them that maybe they can even pay off an entire apartment or the property itself in one shot or one payment, right? But they will lose their liquidity, at least a part of it. For some people, maybe all of it. And in days and times like today, while we are still in some cases and in some countries heavily hit with the COVID pandemic, that can be risky. So you can actually distribute these funds and make installments to pay off your property. In some cases with the post-handover payment plan, but in general cases, even if there is no post-handover payment plan available, you can use them. You can use the construction itself. Now, these payment plans can also be tied to the construction process. In the first example I gave you, I said that you can pay 50% now and 50% on the handover after 1 year, let's say. But you don't have to pay 50% now in all cases. In most cases, actually, you can tie the payment installments with the construction progress. So now for a booking amount, let's say you will pay only 10 or 20%. Then when the progress of the building, the construction progress hits 70% mark, that the construction is 70% completed, you will pay another 10%. When the next 10% of the building completion is there, which means when the building will hit 80% completion mark, then only you will pay another 10%, right? And on the handover itself, you will pay the other 10%, which is the balance to your 50% payment. So 20% now, when you book the property, let's say, another 10% when the property is 70% completed, another 10% which when the property reaches 80% completion level, which is total of 40%. And then the last 10% of your 50% down payment will be given at the time of handover, let's say, right? Then if you have a post-handover payment plan, you can utilize that, or if you don't have a post-handover payment plan, you will just finish the complete payment at the time of handover. But the point is, it can be tied to the construction process itself, which also minimizes your risk and gives you time to make these installments. Now, the next benefit is more choice. More choice means that you are actually able to choose the layouts that you like, the floor plans, that you are able to choose the position of the apartment, let's say, inside of a building. So while the building is under construction, there is always more availability than later on when it comes closer to the actual completion or when it is completed. Some buildings have very few apartments remaining when they are completed. So when you come and try to buy it at that time, you will have very few options available. So you will not maybe able to choose the layout that you like, even though it is built, it's there in the building, but it's sold out. So in most cases, if you want to choose something like that, and if you are very specific about what you want, whether it is for yourself or investment to be rented out, your biggest chances are while the property is off plan or under construction. So when you come at that time and property is under construction, you can choose the layout that you want from all the available layouts inside of the building. Not only that, you can also choose which side of the building you want your property to be to. So let's say a building is positioned so from one side it's looking on a highway, right, or a heavily trafficked road, and from the other side it has a normal community street or other building to it or whatever it is. So the side that's looking on a highway will always be more noisy, and those apartments, even though you like the layout, you like the position of it and all, but they will have more noise. What I've measured, they usually have about 10 to 15 decibels more noise inside of the property itself. So you are able at that time to choose the same property which is looking on the other side, which will have far less noise, if any, right, from the highway. But if you come when the building is completed and you try to do something then, it will not be available most of the times, because people who are coming before you are being able to sit and look at all these layouts, the position of the building, which side it is facing, what the view you have from the property itself, or sometimes people come and choose some property that is away from, let's say, the garbage room or elevators. They're thinking or that the elevators themselves will provide noise whenever someone is using them. So they just want to stay away from that. Or some people have different beliefs, like Vastu, for an example. Those people who want to have their apartment on north orientation. All of these things are available when you have property or more availability to work with. So you have multiple different options available, which is while the property is under construction or off plan. Now, the next benefit is quality. What I mean by quality? Number one, the properties that are coming up, okay, since they are not developed already, some changes there can be made with them. But what's already planned is that these properties will follow the latest trends. Whatever is hot at this time and whatever is considered trendy or modern or more useful, it will already be implemented, which is very difficult to implement in older buildings, right? From the architecture point and structural point itself to the materials that are being used, because as the technology is progressing, so are the materials we are working with in construction, right? Not only that, but the biggest difference probably is in actual layouts, in distribution of the space. So that's why now in some new apartments, I can show you an apartment which is, let's say, 750 square foot. But when you walk through it, you will feel like it's at least 850. Opposite to some older apartment, which can be 900 square foot, but it will feel smaller than the new one I can show you, right? Why is that? It's because the distribution of the space inside of the apartment itself. In older properties, especially here in Dubai, it is known their one-bedroom apartments are like 900 square foot, 850, even 1,000 square foot. But there is a lot of corridors, there is a lot of places inside of the apartment where the space is wasted. And you, remember, are always paying a price per square foot. So every square foot of that apartment you will be paying for. It's already calculated in your price. The question is, will you actually utilize it? So when you have a lot of corridors or a lot of wasted space, or some walls that are under angle that space is there, it's not going to be utilized, but you're still paying for it, right? If you have 100 square foot, let's say, of a space that's not utilized inside of your property, that if you're paying at 1,000 dirham per square foot, let's say, and you have 100 square foot which is wasted, that's 100,000 dirhams in this case, which you paid but you are not using, right? Next point we'll be talking about is the higher returns. Why do properties, as when they come off plan, they have a higher return? Well, it's tied to the next point, which is the price. But not only the price point itself, it's the quality that we mentioned, the floor plans, the modern things which are now implemented in this property, which you cannot find in older properties, that is giving you a higher return. Why? Because to get a return from a property, you need to rent it out, correct? And you're going to rent it out to your, let's say, potential tenant. When that tenant comes, why should they pay you more when they can get, let's say, a 10,000 dirhams cheaper property, also one-bedroom apartment, for an example, in an older building? Because they will actually like this apartment more. That's number one factor, of course. They will like the finishing of it better. They will like the quality of it better. The apartment itself and the quality and finishing it provides, and the space and the layout itself, how the space is distributed, all of things we mentioned before, will be a major factor. Usually even the facilities are better in new buildings or brand new buildings. Facilities means pool, gym, or anything that comes with the building itself. Being able to buy a property off plan, you will usually get a better price as well, which is the next point. So, and it's also tied with your returns. Now, the price of the property and why is it lower under construction? It almost always is. Why is it lower? When you have a building to build, you need some funds with you, correct? Now, the more you pay and more apartments you sold, the more funds will already be with you as a developer. Even though in Dubai you cannot reach almost nothing of those funds while you're constructing, because you already have to have funds in a separate account as a deposit, let's say, for the building you're building, which is making off-plan buildings and developers more reliable in Dubai, and it also gives you security as a buyer. But why do you get a better price then? Well, a building that's under construction, let's say that it needs 1 year to be completed, and building that is ready now, you will still have to wait for that 1 year before you can get a return on your money, which developers of course know. And this is one of the things that will actually deduct the price when you are buying an off-plan or under construction property. Now, the second thing is you can play with the amount of the down payment. If you can give a larger down payment to developers at that time, they will additionally discount your price. When you are buying a ready property, you are paying 100% of the price either way, right? In 90% of the cases, except when you have some post-handover payment plan and you actually find the unit that you can buy and you like. But when the building is completed, the price is rising as well, because you can move in for yourself, or you can rent out the property and get the return immediately. So the price will always be higher. Now, when it's under construction, you're not giving all the money at once. Remember, that's why we have payment plans and payment distribution. But if you can pay 50% now while the building still has 1 year or 2 years to be completed, you will get a significant discount. Especially more if you only pay let's say 10% or something like that. So the more you can pay right now, the bigger discount you will get. If you get a good discount at that time and you get a property which is already in a lower price than a newer property or ready property, you will automatically be in a better position to, even if you rent this property at the same price, you will always be in a better position to get a higher return on your money. In an example, what does this mean? If you pay a 600,000, which is total price for your apartment that you are buying off plan, by the time that building is completed, that apartment might rise to, let's say, 650,000, even if the same apartment is actually available, which in very popular buildings it is not. Very popular buildings are sold out before the completion comes, before they complete the actual building, right? But how does this revolve on your return? If you bought this property for 600,000, but when the time comes and the building is completed, if there is any available, developers are raising the price. At the time, let's say the same property is cost 650 or 670,000. And I buy it at that time, let's say. So you bought your property for 600 and I bought mine for 670. And we both rent it out, and we both rent it out for 50,000 dirham per year. Your return obviously will be higher than mine. 1% or almost 2% higher return. So these are some of the main factors which are included when you are buying an off-plan property. And for the next video, I will try to cover some other factors which are actual risks. So what risks you should actually know when you are buying this off-plan property. And I will also try to cover the ways that you can minimize those risks. So how to choose the actual property if you're going for off-plan, know your benefits. The next video will be to actually know what risks are involved. And the third one, hopefully, I will cover the ways to minimize those risks. So when you are going to buy an off-plan property, you are ready for it, you know what to look out for, you know what the benefits are, risks, and the way to minimize them, so you can be safe and have an investment you will be happy with. If you found something from this video useful, I would appreciate if you can subscribe or like the video, and thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned, because I plan to make more of them. If you have any recommendations or anything that you would like me to talk about or discuss, of course you can always contact me directly, and you have the numbers and links to other social medias below. But you can also comment in the comment section and mention a topic that you would like me to talk about. I will try to cover that as well. Thank you very much.